In the headlines, preparedness level in Bath Estate said to be satisfactory, but a community official says it is still unsafe since Erica. Some Kulibistri residents say they feel ill-prepared for any major storm, and another appeal to Pidit-Savan residents who remain in the community to get out while they can. I am Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News, back with the details after this. Thank you for staying with us. First up, Dominicans have been urged to exercise extreme caution as the country is being affected by the outer bands of Hurricane Irma. The words of caution from Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit when he addressed the nation on DBS Radio on Tuesday. Hurricane Irma had intensified to a Category 5 storm Tuesday morning, and while not passing directly over Dominica, the country is expected to feel the effects of the outer bands from Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday. The country had been placed under tropical storm warning from 5 a.m. on Tuesday.
Again, we want to urge all our residents and citizens to take all precautionary measures. We do not know precisely what Tropical Storm Irma will bring to Dominica, and therefore we need to be prepared to the fullest. Do not take anything for granted, as we have in recent memory experienced the ravages of a tropical storm. This is a massive hurricane, as we've been advised, and though we will not be affected by hurricane conditions, we are now on a tropical storm warning, which means we will get some impact, but our hope and prayer is that we'll be spared. I want to again call on us to be prepared to the fullest, ensure that each of our families, our communities are secured, and we have all the essential items at our residence.
The extremely dangerous core of Irma was forecast to move over portions of the northern Leeward Islands Tuesday night into early Wednesday.
Our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Antigua and other islands north of Dominica, and we hope they will pull through without any damage. Our thoughts and prayers are also with our people here in Dominica, as we pray and hope that our people and our country will be safe.
The Prime Minister had also declared school closed on Tuesday and Wednesday. Public sector workplaces were closed from midday on Tuesday, while private sector entities were encouraged to follow suit. Employees at essential services were to report to work as normal. In related matters, Channel 5 News sought to hear from communities which had been declared special disaster areas following the passage of Tropical Storm Erica 2 years ago. Chairman of the Kulibistri Village Council, Erickson Robinson, says though the community is faced with its unique set of challenges, people have been adhering to advice and updates being given via radio.
From the Kulibistri Monitored Village Council standpoint, and also from the disaster committee standpoint, we have made all the necessary preparations for the passage of this weather system. However, Kulibistri itself poses its own unique challenges, and where we have the river running directly through the center of the community, we have sought to advise persons who are close to the river to evacuate to the Monitored Committee Center, that is Moratco, which we have already activated since last evening.
Robinson says the council is on high alert and has a special plan in place to help the vulnerable populations in the community.
In Kulibistri, we have ensured that all our waterways have been cleared. There is some dredging of the river has been going on nicely. We have ensured that we have provided some level of support. We are on standby for the elderly and particularly single mothers with 1 and 2 children. So we have put things in place to ensure that our persons are safe. But I want to just, on a point of caution, draw to the attention of the residents that we should continue to be vigilant. Let's pay attention to the advisories that are being offered. And, of course, let's not wait until the system is upon us to take the necessary action that must be taken.
Meantime, chairperson of the Petite Soufrière Saint-Sauveur Village Council, two other communities that had been declared special disaster areas, says residents there are well versed on the locations of the emergency shelters.
We have put all our preparations in place for an event of Omar really striking Dominica hard. Now, we have a new location, which is the Petite Soufrière Preschool, and news has passed already to the community that is the new shelter. We have a few elderlies already coming in the various shelters what we have in the community, and everybody is aware of the shelters. We prepared fully, and we are motivating as much as we can in the community with the people that they have to get to the shelter because all the shelters are opened. The parliamentary representative, Mr. Drago, along with me, the chairman, we went to the various locations and make sure that everything is in order. Yes, I am satisfied with what I see, and we're just urging everybody to listen to the radio and take that information seriously.
And chairman of the Pishley Village Council, Lex McLaw, says the committee has been proactive in sensitizing the community on Hurricane Irma.
Yesterday, Ms. Lope and her team, they went about informing the villagers that are not so safe, that they should come out from area and go to the shelters. And I think they have done a remarkable job in that, in alerting the people of what to do and what not to do. They have brought in all their supplies at the shelters. So I just want to commend them on a good job. So I think we are in good hands pertaining to that.
The 9 communities declared special disaster areas following Tropical Storm Erica in 2015 were Saint-Sauveur, Campbell, Kulibistri, Pishley, Petite Savanne, Dubic, Good Hope, Petite Soufrière, and Paradise Valley in Bath Estate. Heading over to the west, Kulibistri is among communities on the west coast which are most vulnerable to natural disasters.
This was very evident during Tropical Storm Erica. Some dredging of the river there was ongoing on Tuesday in an effort to minimize the impact of flooding in that area. Residents are worried that since Erica, no serious wall has been built alongside the river. They say the area is not any safer now than it was prior to Erica.
Since Erica passed, they start clearing the river, and after that they stop. And as the storm is coming now, you see they send the machine Sunday starting clearing the river. But the machine will not have time to finish to do all the work because in the village there is so much debris, and if the river have to come down the same way, Kulibistri just finish.
In this community right now, I think we need walls in this community, and we are neglected, and then I do not know what is next, but anyway, God is good.
Walls.
Thank you very much.
You mean the
on the side of the river? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about the fishing, the expensive fishing boats you all have there? Nowhere to store them?
Well, we are looking at other places, but it is not possible anyway to store them. So it is there right on the side.
It's vulnerable there because...
Yes, it is vulnerable. Yes, it is vulnerable. Well, God is good. We depend upon Him. If our own people have neglected us, then God is good. So we are looking forward for something in terms of safety and security. I do not know. God is good.
A few expensive boats on the shore. The owners say they have no safe spot to keep them during a storm, but they're prepared to drag them further inland if it becomes necessary. And Public Works was on the road at Gel Leo trying to clear up a blocked culvert. These can cause a lot of problems during storms. Water from the mountains heading down this way, from the drains, coming from both directions, all of it would just basically gather right here or culminate right there. and basically the pressure would be on the culvert on that side to just try to get that water through. But right now nothing could go through because it's pretty much blocked. These guys are doing their best. The rest of it, as far as they're telling me, is that you'll need somebody to manually go in there and remove and basically dig out the soil that is really blocking that culvert from one side of the road to the next. You can see this is going to take up quite a bit of work because even after clearing the culvert itself, you have the pile of rocks there blocking the way. You have to get all of this cleared out. So this is quite a task they have before them. But this is one of the essential things that must happen prior to the storms. You want drains to be clear, you want culverts to be free, cleared up, waiting to accommodate the amount of water that is expected, that is anticipated to come from the hills. This is significant. This area is a very significant area, especially when you recall the amount of debris that we pretty much collected in this general area here after the passage of Tropical Storm Erica.
Fishermen in Dubla were waiting patiently to see whether they would have to take their boats to higher ground.
These fishermen, like their counterparts all across Dominica, adhered to warnings from the authorities against going out to sea. They have been grounded since Monday. Still in Dubla, residents there say the construction of a wall makes them feel much safer this time around. They did not have this level of protection during Tropical Storm Erica. During the passage of Tropical Storm Erica, they didn't have the level of protection that they do now with this wall that you see being constructed here. We've basically heard from a number of residents here who are telling us essentially that they feel much safer with this wall being built. It's not completed yet, but you can see quite a lot of it pretty much done, and it's going to provide a certain level of safety and security, protection, I would say, for residents in this low-lying area. So all in all, this is a good sign that residents here will not experience what they did during Erica because of this wall being built right here.
Speaking of sea conditions, near the Douglas Charles Airport, drivers had to face a familiar but troublesome situation which raises its head each time there is a storm.
You can see these cars driving carefully along the border there on the western end of the Douglas Charles Airport, and they have good reason for being cautious, because you can see for yourself the significant wave action in that area coming over the wall, and any driver who would be going across that area would have to be concerned. You could either get your vehicle completely submerged there, completely drenched, and it's basically people just taking their chances. You can see a bus way down there against the wall coming across, and they're trying to do this carefully, but at the same time they're basically trying to look for an opportunity to go across. And you can see the waves heading in as this bus driver is trying to ply his way through, trying to push his way, and you can tell that he's pushing through a lot of water, because quite a bit of water obviously has accumulated on the road there, and it's not a safe situation. It's not a safe crossing at all. You could drive across, but there's a price to pay. You could get completely soaked doing it and probably put your vehicle in some danger because of the seawater and its impact on your vehicle.
It is very dangerous to pass through, especially for cars.
So you would not encourage
a car to pass, at least a van like that, okay. And it still dash over the whole road. When you pass through, the wave come over the whole road, dash your van, take up. It even crossing to reach the airport strip. If you're ready, go and watch. Or you should go have a look.
It's that bad?
Yeah, so the whole world can see. We need some help with that back wall. At least some break or something. Just look at the condition of my van from to passing that seawater every time. It is very, I mean, come on.
You have to go back this way later?
I have to go back this way. I have to make 2 trips back, go back, so.
You have to pass through there twice.
I have to pass through there, come back and still pass through there again. I mean, we need help, man, with that part of the road. We really need help, man. And it is very dangerous.
For the doubters, the people who do not believe that we're going to be affected by the outer bands of this storm, there is evidence right behind me. There's very convincing evidence here in this part of the island. So in the Margot area, this is Julian Morris reporting for Channel 5 News.
You are watching Channel 5 News. Stay tuned for more after the break. Welcome back. President of the Bathurst State Disaster Committee, Aaron Packett, says while the preparedness level is satisfactory, he fears the community is still unsafe since Tropical Storm Erica. Paradise Valley, Bathurst State was declared a special disaster area among 9 communities since the blow by Tropical Storm Erica. Packett says the group is anxious to work with government to seek funding from donor agencies to start some disaster mitigation projects for the area.
My group called the Minister for Communications and Works about 2 weeks ago, inviting her to see the place, which of course some of the areas were being dredged by machines, but that is not good enough. What we want is to be in collaboration with the government so we can get funding to at least get a river defense wall for Paradise Valley and Dead End. Okay, the Prime Minister and his cabinet indicated that there is a plan already for bridge in place. Maybe the financing is not there, which we can understand. But my main concern as a group leader, I want the government to come into collaboration with the group so that we can have at least a meeting and find some source of donor agencies to finance a river defense wall for us.
Packett says he feared additional damage to homes at Paradise Valley if the river overflowed its banks during a storm.
At the moment, dredging is not too bad, but it's not 100%, because when the river decides to take its course, it will. The old bridge has been taken away. We broke it down so it makes the river path wider. But depending on the volume of water, you never know what can happen. Of course, the people of Paradise Valley need to be evacuated once the evacuation order is given. But my concern is the river passing under their homes.
The hurricane shelters in Bathurst State serve Emsall and Silver Lake. Packett said the Bathurst State Resource Center would not operate at its full capacity since a section of the roof was leaking.
Our resource center, which is another shelter, is not fully ready because it's leaking. Again, in the time of the fire of December with the Silver Lake residents, the disaster area had decided that they're going to do some renovations on the building. And I gave them a deal, and they have not get back to us. So I reminded Mr. Shillingford, and then we are waiting on their response. So we may not be able to accommodate the amount of people we would want to. For example, 100 persons. We would have to accommodate maybe about 40 or 50 persons to alleviate the situation because the place is leaking. Okay. So we would have to maybe occupy some of the blocks in the school to be able to house the people.
Disaster preparedness officials are warning Pitit-Savan residents that they do not want the lives of first responders to be at risk in any rescue operation in that southeastern community.
The plea from the authorities continue to be disregarded by some of the people of Pitit-Savan who do not want to evacuate the area. Experts have declared the community uninhabitable after the 2015 tropical storm Erica wreaked havoc on the village. Disaster preparedness officials are again warning Pitit-Savan residents to avoid causing another rescue operation in the community.
Dealing with the Irma aspect of it, we would not want to compound things further by having to risk the lives of our responders, our policemen, our firemen, our young volunteers, to have to send them into the area to do any rescue operations. That is why we would want to again call on the people who are in Pitit-Savan, should situation deteriorate, that they should move.
Government has no legislative power to cause those residing in Pitit-Savan to move. Mr. Skerritt describes the state's aid to the people of Pitit-Savan since their evacuation in 2015 as unprecedented in the public administration of a country.
I have followed the debate in the country for the last week or so on this. And I'm not going to play politics to the safety of anybody. We were affected by Tropical Storm Erica in 2015. We've been advised by those who have the capacity to advise us on the safety of the village of Pitit-Savan. And we have asked every resident to relocate. And the state has provided the assistance to every family. The vast majority, over 90 now 98% of those residents of Petit Savannah have moved, have relocated, and are living in various parts of the country with the accommodation paid for by the state. We've provided them with cash support. Those who owes household goods, we provide them with 60% of the total value, and not the depreciated value, you know, the original price of the fridge. So even if you had a fridge for 10 years, when I see in certain media outlets in the country that people are playing politics with this issue, it's a matter for them.
And the Dominica Business Forum also called on the private sector to safeguard life and property as the country braced for the effects of Hurricane Irma. Dominica was placed under a tropical storm warning related to the Category 5 Irma. In a statement on Tuesday, President of DBF, Severin McKenzie, advised the private sector to follow official advisories regarding the hurricane. DBF called on businesses with inventory of goods to secure their facilities as there were people seeking to take advantage of the vulnerabilities that their businesses will be exposed to. The organization said it was important to note that a significant amount of the loss suffered by the business sector in the aftermath of Hurricane David in 1979 was not associated with the hurricane, but the rampant looting, theft, and vandalism of private sector enterprises, which continued for days after the hurricane. That's news. Your sports highlights next with Kenny Williams.
First up in sports, national sprinter Danielson Mahote says he's looking to be the first to medal at the Summer Olympics in track and field for Dominica. He says he knows his stint in Jamaica will be challenging, but it won't be insurmountable. Mahote is scheduled to leave for Jamaica on Saturday to further his career as a sprint specialist.
This will be a build-up to my ultimate dreams at competing at the Olympics and being the first Dominicans to medal there. Well, it will be tough considering the vast amount of talent that exists in track and field, especially in the area of sprinting, which is the highlight of that sport. And the caliber of the athletes of there is much higher than it used to be, and the competition is way much more. I know it will be tough, and at 20 years old, I'll be a freshman to that young, and I know it will be tough, but it has happened before, and I believe it can happen with me if I work hard.
The national youth sprinter is confident that the training he will receive in Jamaica will be the needed boost to his career. It is important to note that Mahote was born in Haiti, but is expected to represent Dominica if he goes to the Olympics.
The challenges I have had here to train and get myself ready for competitions, I've achieved that much. So I believe with better facilities or better training, I should be able to do way better. I'll be flying a Dominica flag because that's where my talent was discovered in. That's the country that has supported me. I will make it an issue because I am not the first one to be born in a country and representing another country. There are lots of people that does that already, big stars. So to me, it would just be nothing different. I will represent Dominica as if I was representing Haiti with pride and happiness.
Mahote said he would continue to focus on the 100 and the 200-meter events. However, if he had to choose, he would do the 200 since he has a faster top-end speed, which is most beneficial in the 200-meter event. Moving on to football, we can tell you that 9-man Jade have moved to the top of the standings of the 40 and over Veterans Crew Masters League with a recent win in that competition. In that match, Jade defeated Saturday Ballers 1-0.
9-man Jade defeated Saturday Ballers 1-0. For Jade, the goal came from Edgar Peltier. MVPs for the game with Bernard Mills for Jade and Myron Green for Saturday Ballers. That win has propelled Jade to the top of the league with one game remaining.
And in volleyball, the Dominica Senior Women's National Team is ready to make representation at the second round of the World Championship qualifiers, but that will have to wait till later this month. It has not been confirmed, but Mappin Sports understands that due to the passage of Hurricane Irma, the competition originally carded for Antigua will be postponed till later this month. The Dominican team comprised of Captain Ana Maria Pante Xavier, Lisa James, Catherine Francis, Lauren Lockhart, Adela Proctor, Amelia Joseph, Shari Pascal Maroney, and newcomers Tamika Kaby and Kyla Winston, accompanied by head coach Albert Loblack and assistant coach Erickson LeBlanc. 6 countries will vie for the only remaining spot to advance to the third round of the qualifiers in Trinidad and Tobago. That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Be sure to join us next time.
To end the news, the headlines again. Preparedness in Bath Estate said to be satisfactory, but a community official says it is still unsafe since Erica. Some Kolibistri residents say they feel ill-prepared for any major storm, and another appeal to Pidit-Savan residents who remain in the community to get out while they can. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Lee, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Join us tomorrow.